Hey, you want to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, call Allah Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. The Bonus Apostles who are elders rule well, which are GMS. Blessed citations out there to you brothers out there during truth and sincerity. So I just want to do a lesson, man, just news and prophecies. We got this Minneapolis thing, and as you can see in post-production, I also put a clip in there of, I believe it's Australia. I get the either two mixed up, but either way, what I wanted to get out, the first thing is, we're at the end of this thing, man, okay? And one of my favorite scriptures, and I keep bringing it out, because it sums up everything. Okay, and when you go into second Ezra chapter 9 and 5, it says, "For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest." Okay, and the end is manifesting to the point that, it's not as much of a fight as us to fight for clarity. Okay, even though there's a lot of misinformation out there, the end is manifesting. Okay, and one of the manifestation is mainly the prophecies. The prophecies is proof. So once it manifests, which means come to a reality, that's how you know that the Lord is nearing, okay? And that's through the Spirit, I wanted to stop and speak on that because that's a key element. Salakia, I actually had to go up, but there's a key element within that aspect because, a lot of these camps aren't speaking on prophecy, so people aren't even their spiritual eyes ain't even looking in that direction. And if your mind ain't on it, it ain't nothing that you could turn on like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why the Lord says, set your affections on things on high, and be occupied in prophecy because the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is a spirit of prophecy. All these uproars going on, and you got these camps that are trying to establish themselves in Babylon, okay, and they're not doing anything. Where they at, okay? They're running and hiding, all right? They say that they're trying to get a piece of, Wyoming or something like that. They're trying to build schools. They're trying to build communities, okay? You know what I'm saying? Now, the real prophets ain't trying to do none of that. The community is the elect, okay? And we take care of each other how the Lord see fit. But we don't need no government programs and subsidies and buildings to do that. If the Lord's gonna bless us, just like He clothed the lilies and clothed the flowers, He's gonna do the same for us in order to take care of each other. You know what I'm saying? As well as take care of ourselves, okay? But outside of that, we don't be doing all that, like Yahweh Shai said himself, foxes have holes, but the master doesn't have any, And that's the same as a prophet, man. We're nomads, we're pilgrims upon the earth, okay? But getting back to what I was saying is that, 2 Ezra 9 and 3, it says, matter of fact, I just started 9 and 1 because it really, in all actuality, I just try to jump to it and I skipped over a lot because this chapter just pretty much sums up everything, okay? It says, "He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself." Yeah, being occupied in prophecies, you're measuring the times. How do you measure the times? Oh, we're getting close, all right? It's not like a ruler. It's you see how far you got left, how much you got to go, okay? And you do it via prophecies, man. When you start seeing, again, the uproars of the people, wars and rumors of wars, okay, Venezuela, Russia, Ukraine, okay, all kind of political, fights and economic fights, Japan, Taiwan, America, Gulf Sea, Cuba, Greenland, and it's all over the place, okay, France and Nigeria, and it's because it's all connected to the beast, all right, just because Babylon is just the whore that rideth upon a dragon, so she the one that's steering everything, but at the same time, France is a part of that beast, okay? And they operate in the name of that dragon because they all are eating off the same meat, okay? Them 7 heads and even the woman themselves, she's the one feeding them. You know, she gets her share, and then she feeds it to her babies. You know, and that's the world and all its riches, which is its resources. But that's another subject. But getting back to it, it says, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, what is the signs? The prophecies, MOTB, famine. You know, and as prophets, anytime we see anything that's relative or connected to it, we're going to report it, man. Okay? We're going to report it. We're going to speak on it because it's wars and rumors of wars and uproars of the people. Okay? And that's the thing. Like, if you see it and it's connected, now you don't jump on every single thing because certain things could be really a deflection or trying to, you know, can make you look crazy. So it's like, you know, if it has a purpose towards bettering the gospel and you have a point to get off, then you speak on it. You know what I'm saying? We're always going to speak on anything that's relative to the MOTB. Okay? Anything. You know what I'm saying? Anything that's legislated and put into action, or, you know, yeah, we're going to go over it. Because micro C-hip has to be spoken on because that is the climax. That is the point of the movie, but the climax is going to be them thermonuclear missiles. You know what I'm saying? Prophetically. But Esau's climax, he believes, is going to be that MOTB. Okay? It says, then shalt thou understand, verse 2, that is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. You know, and that's what we're waiting on. You know what I'm saying? Is the second coming of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And woe unto you who desire that day if you ain't doing what you're supposed to do. You know, we have to gather our oil up, you know, and it's going to be a joyous day for the elect. Lord's will, I'm amongst them and the rest of the Akim. You know, everybody that's fighting a good fight, man. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you got to put in work. And whether you're male, female, the Lord has a calling for all of us, and we all have our lots. And you're supposed to try to magnify your office as much as you can. But getting to it, it says, therefore, when thou shalt be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, because Salaki, I want to get back to what I was saying with this, you know, because as I always quote, knowing that heaven and earth shall be dissolved, what manner of persons are ye to be in holy conversation and godliness. So this should get our blood rushing as men of the Lord. And when your blood rushes, it doesn't, you know, you get excited, you start hunkering down. I wanted to do a lesson, but I'll just speak on it now because there ain't too much to it. But, you know, it's just like boxers within the rounds. You know, when they hit that last 10 seconds, they hit that clap, they turn up. You know, that's pressing toward the mark. Just like a racer, a runner, they run through that ribbon. They run through it. They don't see the end in sight and slow down. You know, so a prophet, men of the Lord, are going to get excited. The blood going to rush, and the reaction from that excitement is going to be getting hunkering down, getting, you know, pushing harder. You know, it's no wonder why the elders, you know, our elders and our apostles were speaking on, you know, up in, you know, the flow, the output of videos, you know, the information, just the spirit of just, and it's just naturally matched. It's like jumping on a treadmill, matching the pace of prophecies, manifesting, you know, and it's getting so blatant loud now. It's you just speak on it, man, and bring it on out, man, you know, and we're seeing uproars of the people. And one thing I wanted to speak on that was like really interesting to me is that there's a video I'm gonna put in post-production, and you know, the Edomite, that guy that got shot, man, you know, through the spirit, man, like we don't truly know what type of guy this is, but there's a lot of people that Esau be banging on that, you know, you got right that the average Edomite don't care, but this is very close to them, one of them white Christian nationalists. You don't know, but I get the sentiment that they're touching too close to home. You know what I'm saying? And they don't understand And Esau, Edom, because Edom, just because they're blood relative to the beast, it doesn't mean that they're going to partake in its entirety anyway. That's another thing that a lot of these niggas don't get. Edomites and actual Jake, that's on the other side, is that he's going to cause of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive the mark. So all these middle class John talking about who they voted for, and I voted for Trump, and y'all need to get a job. They're gonna make y'all get the mark. They're gonna do y'all dirty with the rest of the world, man. They're gonna find out. Because at the end of the day, it will be a point where people will be getting chipped. And the Lord's going to protect the elect. All right? He's going to protect the elect from those said perils. Okay? And that's why we are to put our work in now to reinsure our walls, man, spiritually. We're building our walls up right now, fortifying ourselves spiritually by prophesying, by putting in His work, man, by dying daily, by growing, and from charity to brotherly counsel, to being brotherly, doing your lessons, growing spiritually, doing your studies, because it's one thing to do a lesson, but you got to have an intent. You can't just be firing off. It has to be something of purpose, because we got to push each other to get up out of here. But let me continue on. It says again, verse 4, then shalt thou understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning, because it's already written, man. All right, and these prophecies are already written. We've been speaking on it, and people are going to realize as it manifests, the more we get to the end of this thing, the more it's going to become a understanding that something higher than human interaction is going on. Everything is just lining up and getting too straight up, and then it's going to end up to what the end is truly going to be manifest, which is going to be them chariots, and everybody knowing that Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is the ruling power, all right, which is going to automatically establish that the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are the children of God. That's a thing that we're fighting right now that we don't really understand, is that we're fighting to tell people that we're the children of the Most High. You know what I'm saying? Even if we technically win that fight, it's not gonna hit the same when everybody's gonna know. When the Lord look at us as a nation and say, these are my children, that's gonna tell the whole world how to treat us. When the Lord manifests Himself via the chariots, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, call Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Lord's will we see that day and be on the right hand side, and Jake getting delivered, you know what I'm saying, and you start realizing that, as it says, matter of fact, let me get it real quick. Yeah, so we're gonna go into Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5 and 1. It says, then the righteous man shall stand in great boldness before the faces of such as have afflicted him and made no count of his labors. Because Jake built this country, even with the ice and all that, going on. Like, these people from the northern kingdom to the southern kingdom have built and maintained this country, you know what I'm saying, all the way up to present day. And Esau has just been taking the credit, okay? He didn't build none of this like how you'll find some of them here and there. There's blue collar Edomites, but we're talking about them railroads. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't Esau. That was Ammon. Okay. The prestige of America. Down south. It's the riches of down south, man. You survive through the natives. Okay. Use them to round and catch Jake. All kind of things that you've done. Then you steal resources, okay, subjugate people. Then in modern day, you just use them for cheap labor. Steal their oil and their resources in their land. They'll call them refugees, man. But them small hats ain't no refugees. Go figure. You know, that's the biggest worst. And it's crazy because Esau knows that all of them coming out nowadays about it, speaking on these small hats and how they stealing everything. But these people having 18, 19 kids, getting welfare, and Jake is the problem. Them black Hebrew Israelites, and we're not black Hebrew Israelites. We're Hebrew Israelites, by the way. Okay, all right. So going back to it, it says, verse 2, when they said that they shall be troubled with terrible fear. Okay, and what is it saying? And shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. Because that strangeness of the salvation is going to be them chariots. Okay, we sitting here telling people about chariots. They laugh and they scoff, just like they laugh and scoff at the MOTB. They laugh and scoff the same way. Okay, and the closer we get to this thing, them chariots are manifesting too. And it all sounds like just like the MOTB was doing the same thing, bro. It was. You see it in dogs and where's my dog? You thought it was a game, and then you start seeing niggas scanning shit with that shit. You start seeing them Amazon carts, and then you can't act like it's some BS no more. And it's gonna be the same thing with these chariots. And everybody that keep following this pattern of denial, doing what the hell you want, and waiting for it to manifest, those the type of people that ain't gonna make it. Because those are people what's gonna manifest ultimately is gonna be a thermonuclear missile fire wave hitting your forehead like a toaster oven. Go do you like a toaster strudel. Yeah, it's gonna do you like a toaster strudel, boy. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, knowing the terror of the Lord, we persuade men, man. But let's get back to it. Therefore have we erred, Salakia. Verse 5, it says, how is he numbered among the children of the Most High, and how is his lot among the saints? Yeah, because they consider the end of our life madness. They consider this a waste of time. Even the people around us, people wonder why we not living it up and traveling, going here and doing this. It's like, and then if Jake going somewhere, they're still doing the work. And it's like they be wanting Jake to just live a little. No, man. We're hastening the day. We're occupied. We're getting out of here, man. When these cameras turn off, it don't stop. All right, I ain't no monk. I ain't sitting here in them Buddhist pose, but I ain't out here, okay, I'm done being an Israelite. I'm about to go into the world again. All right? That's a lot of these, and you don't know what these guys doing until them cameras turn off. But when you see them, you could kind of see what they be getting into. But it is what it is, man. Nothing here nor there. But the whole point is that I wanted to get to is that, with these uproars of the people, a lot of things is going on as far as people getting shot blatantly. You know what I'm saying? Don't know if it's set up or not, or how it is. Because the right to peaceably assemble is going to be addressed. The right to bear arms, yes, that's already been getting addressed. People been tricked out of. I'm gonna go and look up the gun sales. That's something to track. That is something to track. You know what I'm saying? Because this type of uproar the government is not gonna allow citizens to just attack ICE. But at the rate ICE is going, and these Edomites are just like they stormed that White House. They'll this is Texas, they ass. Because now you're starting to point the guns at them. So I'm waiting. But at the same time, I'm thinking it's going to be good. But hell no. Them draconian measures going to come. The military going to come. Okay? They're already ready. Everything's already set. There's going to be a bunch of things that's going to happen. But everything is set for them draconian measures to be implicated. The weaponry, the drones, the surveillance systems. Okay, the networking, the ability to track people. Okay, thermal, all that. So it ain't nothing for them to get on people's ass out here. You know what I'm saying? And it's all in place. Cameras everywhere. Yeah. So while people uproaring, they don't realize that these uproars, there's a ripple in a pond. And one of the ripples is disrupting the right to peacefully assemble. There's also uproars of the people, prophecies being fulfilled. Okay, as it says, it's like it because I don't want to pass it up too far. I'll go back to that second Esdras because we got to read that. We must at least read that again if I haven't read it. You know, in verse again, that second Esdras 9:3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the beginning of the spoke of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as that is made of the in the world have a beginning and an end, and an end is manifest. Even so this time also the highest have plain beginnings and wonders and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. All right, we're seeing the effects and signs. We're seeing endings. We're seeing the end of the dollar. We're seeing, the end of Greenland. We're seeing the end of kingdoms, rulerships. We're seeing the end of technologies and certain things that used to be. Okay. Like certain things that wasn't old for us, that's old. And, I seen somebody the other day struggling to flip a coin. Huh? We all gave him coins. We all was flipping a coin and he grabbed it like a monkey. That's neither here nor there. The point is that this place is advancing. Okay? And let's continue on because the point is like we're in a place that everything is ready to, the beast system is ready to be set up. It just needs something catastrophic, something serious. And then the whistleblower has been bringing it up. I believe Aaron Russo brought it up. It's going to be something cataclysmic that's going to trigger everything. The dominoes is just going to fall. One thing we know though is that the MOTB will come. And that's pretty much the end of it. And then the thermonuclear missiles is the end. So ain't no missiles gonna come, and then you gonna get the chip. Nah. Don't think that. So don't be thinking when Russia be saying this or such as if the MOTB ain't here, because again, as the scriptures say, we gotta stick to these prophecies and we gotta understand the order, because we're not gonna totally know the order. But like it says, if possible, they'll be able to deceive the very elect. They're going to say, lo, here is Christ, there is Christ, right? You're not supposed to, you got to stick to these prophecies, the Lord's will. Don't deviate, okay? But getting back to it, it says, even verse 6, even so the times also have the highest plain beginnings and wonders and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by what? His works, and by faith as well, whereby ye have believed. So you're going to establish your belief through the way you operate, man. And that's the way we're going to escape. So our works is really your journey, man. A lot of Jacob be focusing on the end and they just sitting around doing nothing. Pepper spraying each other in the middle of the park. Okay? Squabbling. Fucking around and shit, man. This is what people doing. But we're supposed to be hastening the day, being occupied in the prophecies, being watchmen on the watchtower, reporting into the elect, or the hopeful elect, and everybody, man. We running and telling. So with that being said, we're going to give all praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachach double honor to our apostles who are elders who rule well. Blessings and salutations to you brothers out there teaching and enduring truth and sincerity. Shalom.